Up next on Usala Radio, presenting The Wall, a new show for parents and teenagers navigating through difficult topics. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Edwin Desamour.
What's up, everybody? This is Edwin Desamour, and you're listening to The Wall live on Usala Radio. Today in the studio, who is on time? Tatiana.
Hi.
We have Diana, who's in college, but she just sent the text saying, I'm on my way. So this is going to be happening a lot for a young lady who's working and is in college also, believe it or not. But she's out of Philly, making her way, making it happen. Eddie Lopez working late, but still
like always.
She's going in on him. And we have Chicken Hawk in the background. Oh, we have Diana who just popped up. Hello, Diana. Diana's come on in. All right, and we have a very wonderful special guest in the studio. I'm excited today to have her on, and please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Felicia Roche. I am a mental health advocate in the city of Philadelphia. I have an organization called Pulse, Philadelphia United Leadership Service and Exchange. We work with young people, mentoring across the city, as well as holding teen town halls, all about getting resources to the community. I have a focus on mental health, but all the work I do is about getting resources to the community. So I'm very happy to be here and to join the conversation.
Welcome and thank you. And she has that radio voice. Does she have that radio voice? Yeah, you have that radio voice. Yeah, you sound like I heard you before on the radio. Like wait a minute.
Very confident.
Yeah.
You need to give some of that to me.
Yeah. All right. We're going to dive right into the topic introduction.
Wait. Eddie's here.
Oh, Eddie's here. I think Tatiana wanted to point him out because he came in a little late, and she likes to rub that in his face because she was like, there's no excuse.
I worked last night, too, so what are you talking about?
Felicia, if you don't know, there's a lot of feuding going on in the show.
I love it.
All right, you mad. You big mad.
All right, topic introduction.
Okay. On the wall this week is a teenage pregnancy. Risky decisions come with the potential for consequences, and teenage pregnancy is no different. As of January 2017, the average cost to raise one child from birth to age 18 was more than $230,000. Many adults with full-time jobs struggle with this responsibility. So what happens when the person responsible is not an adult yet, but a teenager? Within all the other daily struggles for a teen parent also has the life and the well-being of another human to be concerned about. Remember, the end of the show should be the beginning of your conversation. Don't be afraid to tell down the wall.
So remember, the end of the show should be the beginning of your conversation. Today, I think this conversation is long overdue. This is something that our community is dealing with. This is something young people are dealing with because young people are at that stage where they're making choices. They're about to get into a few things that could lead to many different roads. Whether bringing a human being into this planet or putting themselves out there and opening themselves up some type of disease or a disease that could really take your life and damage everyone that loves you. So we're going to get into that, and I'm hoping that, Felicia, that you join us on some of our random questions, some of our games before we get started. So please don't be afraid to join us. Sometimes we argue. But the whole point is
fine.
It's okay to disagree, but we don't have to hate each other. So we usually have a silly random question. Today's random question is, if you had to leave home for an emergency, what 3 things, not people, would you take? If you had to leave home for an emergency, what 3 things would you take? Now think about that. I was just watching something on YouTube where they were playing pranks on people, putting on the TV, like there was some type of a natural disaster happen or a terrorist attack, and they were telling folks everyone has to meet at a certain part in town. Mm-hmm. So gather only a few things with you and head on out. What would be those 3 things? Who wants to give that a shot?
I'll probably take my car keys, my phone, and then my wallet, and then I'll be good.
Car keys, phone, and wallet. Okay. Any reason why?
I take my wallet because if I need to buy anything or anything, I'll go out there. And then my phone just to talk to people and then like communicate with everybody. And my car, so if anything, like when we're done, I could just drive back home. I don't have to take no bus or anything.
Okay.
How much of an emergency are we talking about?
Right.
Well, you know what? This is the wall, so we're going to make this a serious emergency because I don't think
Like-
people taking this serious.
Yeah,
Like, we
okay.
have to evacuate.
Got
There's an
you.
emergency. We have to evacuate. They're saying, listen, you guys got to get out. Like, for example, in California, the fires are going on right now.
Right, right.
They're telling you got to leave your house.
Right.
What 3 things are you taking with you? Because you don't know when you return, if you
Yeah.
ever do return, will your house be there?
Right.
So what 3 things would you take with you?
So, do y'all remember when we had that little tiny earthquake
Yeah.
in Philly? Couple, like I don't know how many.
It was
years
like a
ago
couple years
that?
ago.
Yeah, phones weren't working.
The only ones
Cell
was working was
phones-
Cricket.
Landlines. Crickets was
The cheapest phones were working.
nobody
Yeah.
was using those,
Yeah.
right? So cell phones might not be that useful in a real big emergency because unless it's a landline, you're not getting through. I remember trying to contact everybody that day, and it was just like for a good 3 or 4 hours that wasn't happening. So I'm trying to think of like solid things that I would take with me. I feel like I would definitely take my water bottle
I was just thinking that.
because I'm gonna need some water. I don't know, maybe a flashlight and a blanket
Blanket.
because
Okay.
I have a fear of being cold. So
Okay.
depending on
Take
what
a
the
lighter.
weather is.
Oh, no, my
to light
God.
a fire.
And
Yeah.
then you could
Yeah.
cook with that too.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Finally, she's using her brain.
Uh-oh. Let's get started.
Not direct
It's too
Yeah,
it's too
yeah.
early for this, Eddie. I'm not gonna argue with you.
What would
That
you
was a
take
good
with you?
one.
What would you take with you?
Okay, obviously my lighter.
You have a lighter?
No, but I'll buy
About to
one.
say maybe you should get stressed.
Or no, I have a lighter for
I have
my
a mute
candles.
button so your mom can't hear this.
Right,
okay.
right,
Do you
right.
have a lighter?
I have a lighter for my candles.
Okay.
You just switch
all right.
yourself up.
No, go
I
ahead.
didn't
Come on.
switch
Let's go.
myself
Let's
up
go.
for
Come on.
nothing.
Come on. Let's go.
Anyways, so my lighter, I don't know, a water bottle, probably the same stuff, and my car.
In your car.
So not
Yeah.
the same stuff.
So there's a tsunami,
Basically
your
the
car
same
not
stuff. The
making
water,
it through it.
the water, and the lighter, and my car.
Your car not making it through a tsunami, so
A tsunami.
yeah. That's
I thought we were talking about an earthquake.
any natural
And,
disaster.
and,
Look,
and
she
it's
came
just
up
an
with
emergency.
another
Yeah.
natural disaster.
Surfboard,
All right.
tsunami.
I you know. What would you go with?
Wow.
Food. I would take food, not my car.
Water.
Mm-hmm.
So you gonna walk around with food?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
why
get
not?
a bag
Then you're
and
gonna
bring.
run out
I'll
of
put
food.
cans.
Survive on
I'll
water.
put cans.
Then you're gonna run out
Go
of
ahead.
it.
Okay, so water.
It's okay.
Your car is eternal.
I don't care.
Oh, it can't be people, right? Oh, water. I don't know. I can't.
Right.
Cause you said it can't be people.
But it's pretty deep. Before I even keep going with this, when you really think about it, I was at a conference one time and folks were talking about we're not really ready
We're not
for
prepared.
a natural disaster. We
Yep.
we will really be caught off guard. We will really be caught off guard. In if we get caught up
Yep.
with a natural disaster, So
I agree.
just want y'all to think about that. If we're so comfortable seeing on the news that something happens, what would we do if it was a natural disaster?
I remember when our current president became president. I remember the next day I said I was going to pack my car up with a case of water, some some food that won't perish like within a year, like bars, what else did I say? Batteries, anything for like a blanket, a flashlight. I don't know why that triggered something in me to make me realize like I'm not prepared for if something goes down. I don't know. I felt like something was going to go down when he became president.
No,
but
I
remember
agree.
thinking that, and I do feel like we're not prepared the way we should be.
There's note to self on another show because I feel as though we're so used to watching things happen overseas and other places or even across the other side of the country when we talk about fires and earthquakes and everything. I don't think here, especially here in the East Coast, we're prepared for a natural disaster. If something really was to happen, what was it? Not too far down south when they first got snow, it was only an inch of snow and it was a traffic jam. Everybody was stuck.
Yeah, that's true.
We're used to the snow, but certain folks got stuck out there with an inch of snow. They didn't know what to do. I think we're so spoiled today.
We are.
we're I want to say spoiled and arrogant because we believe that nothing can happen to us.
True. Very, very true.
Well, Chick Hog, is there anything you would take with you? What would you take?
I would take a bag first so I can put more things in it.
Okay, pretty smart. A bag to put some things in. Okay.
You always get technical with
Go ahead.
That's smart. Yep.
That's smart.
That's smart.
What else?
You didn't say what's in the bag.
And then, I don't know, because I'm not sure how big the bag's going to be to be able to hold what I need.
So instead of taking 3 things, you take multiple.
So you just gonna fill up that bag. So really, you taking one bag with everything in it. Okay. For me, they sell these survival kits. I'm always looking at, especially online.
Oh.
And I'm one of them guys. Believe it or not, I'm always thinking like, okay, I need to get this. Where it has a compass, has a first aid kit, has something that you can easily grab, and have these little snack pouches in it. It has the water and the hydration pouches in there.
I need one of those.
So,
So when something happens like that, I'm gonna come to you because you gonna have all the stuff that I need.
if you could get to me, I actually
You're not gonna take your dogs? Your
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah,
You
yeah.
love your dogs.
Yeah, most definitely, I'm taking one of them with me.
No, you one. So it's like I don't like you today, so I'm definitely
I gotta
taking
pick
you.
one. It's about
I'll take
survival.
the small one.
It's
I'll
about
take that
survi-
small one you got.
It's about survival.
Gotta
But
make some quick choices.
yeah, you gotta make some. You gotta quick these choices. Yeah, because I got one dog that's very old. Like you gonna slow me down, right? And then I got one dog that's pretty, and that, much as I love him, but I got one dog. Okay. When it comes to, if you ever see these movies like where it's the end of the world and people are trying to rob people, whatever.
Yep.
So if we have to sleep out in the woods or something, I need a dog that's gonna be able to be on alert. Be able to protect. That's really
Does your
my-
old one do that or no?
He's old, but he protects. But he's old. He's not gonna be able to. He's a dog that's over 200.
You only got
pounds.
2, right? The small one and the big one.
Yeah, he's a dog over 200 pounds. But he's old. But I'm talking about I have a young stocky one who's pretty. He listens, and I'm just talking about survival.
Surviving.
I'm thinking about survival. So you talking about a bag full of a kit that we need to go with, which is going to have everything in it. The dog. And one thing that I believe that everyone left out was because I've listened to interviews and I've seen interviews where people lost everything. And one of the things, they didn't worry about the money and everything else, the photos of their loved ones. Because sometimes that's all you have left
Wow.
of someone that passed away, someone you love, and you will never get that memory back. Well, those photos back. All you have is a memory.
Right.
So to me, I would want to snatch maybe a family album up. Because like I said, you have your phone, but if you can't charge it or something like that.
That's
so
true. That's on all those movies. Those end of the world movies. Think
Yeah.
about what
Yo,
is it?
have you
I
ever
Am
seen?
Legend?
Yeah, I was just about to say that because he mentioned the dog, and I was like, you talking about like
yeah.
I Am Legend?
Yeah.
And all he was looking at was the pictures
The
of his wife
picture,
and
yep.
his kids.
Yep.
it's pretty deep that we're into this conversation of survival because it's starting to lead into the main topic. Because at the end of the day, everything is about survival. And do we take things very seriously? Do we take it as a joke? Or are we really prepared? Or are we just so arrogant saying, I'm just going to be fine? I'm not going to jump right into the main topic just yet, but I just wanted to put out there that when you really think about it, if someone says, I'm pregnant, that's survival right there. What are you going to do?
Move to
How are you going to
Dominican
survive? You joke, but listen, this is serious. I think young people are not looking at this as a real serious thing. Like, it's a gamble. You're throwing it out there. When we come back, when we get back, we're going to go to a commercial break. You're listening to The Wall on Usla Radio. When we get back, what's next up on The Wall is Weekly Update. Stay tuned with our special guest, Felisa Roche.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Being prepared is a part of who you are.
but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. You're listening to The Wall, where we witness achievements through life lessons. This is Edwin, Desamour, and we're live on USLA Radio. All right, weekly update. A former Nazi SS soldier who is 93 years old now is currently in court facing 5,230 counts of being an accessory to murder for his role as a prison guard at a concentration camp. He claims that he saw people wait in line to get in, but nobody fought the line. They just walked in. He also admits that he saw people go in and never come out, but he did not know what they were being that they were being gassed to death. He also admits that admits that he remembers hearing screams and banging after the doors were locked, but he had no idea why. He claims guards were given very little information about who was being imprisoned in the camp or what happened to them. He assumed that they were being taken out of the camp for work duty. Here's the question. If this former Nazi guard is telling the truth and he truly had no idea what was happening, is it fair for him to be held responsible now? Why or why not?
Yes.
Diana jumped right on this one. Go ahead, Diana.
I say yes because that's like if you're like at a crime scene and just because you didn't shoot the guy, you was there, so you just as accountable as everybody else.
Very powerful.
So.
The old Diana's coming back. Very
I'm tired, but I'm there.
putting it. That's
I don't know, to be honest, because if we think about it, if we use, like do from point of view and stuff like that, like let's say they had one of our U.S. Soldiers from the other state. To them, to U.S. soldiers, they're like, oh, he's bad and all. So to us, we see Germans and Nazis as the bad people, but in general, we don't know if that person is good or not. We just assume because hey, it's a title, he's a Nazi, so he should be accounted for what he's been doing. So technically, I wouldn't say he should be, but at the end of the day, I don't know. I just feel like he shouldn't even be accounted for because he could have been a Nazi but then been doing something else and not hurt anybody and not know what was going on because something that happens. There's U.S. soldiers out there that things happen and they don't know. We don't know. That's how it goes.
pretty interesting. That's an interesting point. You know, there are people listening. Once again, we call this the wall because we want to knock that wall down. A lot of times we put walls in between us because we disagree and we're not trying to hear what you have to say. And I hear you. You know, you just actually, I believe, gave a few folks another way of looking at things, even myself a little bit. You say, okay, you know, I had to sit back listening to you saying, we have soldiers who are at war who are assuming that they're under a just cause, sometimes for certain things. And I'm being honest, sometimes some of our wars are not for what people actually think they are. You know, if you're saying, hey, you're going to go protect the land of the brave, you're going to protect us, our families, but a lot of times, you know, I'm not saying this is the case, but what if we're the powers that be saying, no, we need to get that oil, we need to gain control, we need to do this and this and that, and we have our children dying out there thinking they're fighting a just war and actually looking at other people as the enemy. I'm not saying that's the case with this guy, but you just gave another way to look at things. You know, people could agree or not, but thank you for sharing that. You want to take a shot at No?
No.
You staying back from that?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this.
That's
I'm
important to know, too.
That's important to know because, you know, and that's okay. It's okay to be like, wow, like, you know, because some things you can't answer right away. I think when you're having conversations with someone and if you're having with family about anything, it's okay to say, you know what, I can't answer right now. Because what happens when you try to force an answer out, you can't really take what you said back because, you know, you feel as though, I got to say this right now. You know, but it's okay to say that, what you're feeling.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, before I go into that, I think it's really important that we start getting more comfortable with saying, I don't know. Because I feel like we live in a time where everyone thinks they have all the answers. And I'm kind of like over that. I'm like, it's okay if you're not an expert at everything and you just don't know or you need time to think about it. And to be curious and say, you know what, I don't have enough experience in that to answer that question, but I'm going to think about it and get back to you. Like, I feel like we live in a time where more and more people should probably start doing that, especially online. But I digress. So for this one, though, I really feel like, I don't know. In the beginning, I felt strong that no, he didn't really know, so he shouldn't be held accountable for so much because it's really heavy. But then that last point about him hearing screams and banging on the doors.
That's what got me.
Yeah, I was just like, well, what did you do? You know what I mean? Like, were you being a part of, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of, that's what's got me torn a little bit on whether or not he should be held accountable. At that age and probably looking back at the whole story, I'm sure he probably would have done it differently in hindsight. But I don't know the person, and I don't know if that's true or not. So
I wonder how old he was, because he could have been a
During
real
the
young
time,
person.
right?
Yeah, you know, when,
Yeah.
you know, that was a long time ago,
It
and
was.
he probably was pretty young.
And there was a lot of brainwashing going
A lot
on.
of brainwashing, and then being forced into something, probably drafted to be a part of something, and you're scared yourself. Like, okay, I'm just gonna put in my mind that I don't know what's going on, because that could probably be me behind those doors. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it could be so many different stories behind. And I'm glad you brought something up also about not speaking on something you don't know. I think we do have a problem in our culture and America and Philly and wherever we go that people speak on things they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, people quick to assume, people are quick to judge without knowing the full story or the past or the root or the cause. You know, like, for example, running around looking at folks like, oh, look at them, they don't want to do nothing with themselves. You know, I was just, not to change it up a little bit before we get into ethical dilemmas, we spoke about Haiti. You know, a lot of folks, Felicia's Haitian, so was my father's from Haiti. A lot of times when I run into people like, you know, one time a person asked me, well, why is Haiti so messed up like that? And it was almost like, not a real question, but it was like, and I was like, first of all, do you know the history, the background? Do you know how
powerful people.
Some powerful folks and what they've been through and what it took? You know, my youngest son's name is Leo Vachor, his real name.
Yes.
So, and there's a reason behind that.
Yeah,
But
I'm definitely not seeing that name.
What happened?
I definitely can't see that name.
Yeah, Leo Vachor, and you know, he who creates an opening, right? And there's a story, because I want him to be able to tell that story down the line. What, you know, tell me about your name, because you won't forget who you are. But it's crazy how people quick to assume, oh, they don't want to get together. People don't believe how, you know, and that's another topic, but the history beyond it and what they're up against and what they've been up and what they still go through, but they're still standing. So there's a lot of pride there. So, but it goes back into, we assume a lot. We assume, and sometimes we just see something on the media. You know, I teach my children, and I'm hoping parents who are listening to this, you know, that you do the same thing, but teach your children to question everything. Just don't accept what someone is telling you. You know, I even tell kids, like, when I'm working with kids, question me. Go back and research. If you feel as though you don't feel right with what I'm saying, just don't say you trust me, because I could be wrong many times. You know what? I'm okay with coming back and say, I disagree with you. I looked this up. You know, there's power in researching.
Yeah.
There is power in digging stuff up, because if you just go with what people are saying, that's what's going on with society today. When I say a little highway behind the backdrop, you know, that's what it's like. People just going with the flow, but nobody's really taking a step back to look at the view. So I'm pretty concerned about the generation, but then also I feel very, trying to find the word for it, but encouraged, because we do have a new generation. When you look at these young politicians that just came on in, that folks are scared of, they're very informed. They hate that. People hate being very informed. You know, you think about slavery back in the day, slaves were not allowed to read. Slaves were not allowed to write, because folks wanted to keep control over you. It's the same thing today. Let's keep you busy with social media. Let's keep you busy with reality shows that are just dumb. Let's keep you busy with music that is not singing about anything. You're so distracted, and meanwhile, the world is moving, and people are making moves, and people are making choices. And people are making decisions on your behalf without you knowing. So thank you for joining me with the joining us with the weekly update. Eddie, ethical dilemmas.
All right. At lunchtime, you realize that you forgot to do your math homework. The assignment is 3 pages long with 45 computation problems to complete. Instead of eating, you start to do the assignment. A friend offers you his complete assignment to copy before class. What would you do? Well, that's a
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I'm taking it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm taking it because high school and senior, I really like I got most of the answers from that type thing. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I'll take it because it's like.
I mean, I'm a beast at math, so I don't know. I might just.
I'm actually really good at math. That's one subject I'm really good at. English.
Listen, I'm not judging. I'm just listening. What would you do?
No,
Yeah,
I
I probably if it was right there and I want to go home or I'm tired, I probably just copy off the assignment. But if I actually want to learn or like want to look at it, then I'll do it because I love math. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I love that answer.
I hate science. I hate reading. I hate writing. Don't put me
Tell
in
the
front of a book. Nothing. I take math.
Take math.
I'll probably do it if it's my last choice, but
Okay.
like I'll take it.
Oh no, I'll take it. If it's math, I'll take it. But if it's something else, if it's like English or writing, I could do that on my own.
I can't.
I
hate
hate.
it.
I can't stand math. I can't do it. English, writing.
I'll do your math for when you do
social
my English.
studies. Okay, go ahead. Anything that involves writing, like I'm okay with, just not math. Math is just like my worst subject. But
Wow. Okay. Math is my worst subject also. What would you do?
I hate math. Terrible at it. I think, I'm gonna be honest, I think I would take it because the way this is written up, it sound like it was an honest mistake. Just forgot. You really meant to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You started to, you actually decided not to eat so you could start your assignment. I would have felt like God sent me somebody in that moment to give me this assignment. I'm like, oh, well, thank you.
It was fate.
Yeah,
It was
that
fate.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as somebody like, what am I going to do?
Yep.
They're like, God is good.
I'm gonna be grateful for it and take it.
When we had
Go ahead.
when we had word problems and stuff, and we had to do it, and then they'd be like, "Yo, do you do your homework for the next class?" And then there'd be lunch. I'd be like, "Oh," I'll be running around asking people. I'll be like, "Yo, I'll give you $1 for that homework if you give it to me." And then they'll be like,
$1.
or they'll be like, "Yeah, I got you. I'm slide it under." And then, but you see the teachers walking around making sure you don't cheat
I know I hate that. They be like,
at lunch. And
I'd
I'm
be like, wait.
But
I remember I got caught cheating twice. That was
I
funny.
never.
The important thing to notice in that, though, is the stress beforehand, the stress of you didn't have it done. So maybe that's a lesson in itself. Next time, I'm going to
be
make sure
prepared.
I have it done. Yeah.
Wow. Chicken hawk.
Chicken Hawk is too good. He's not even gonna take
and
it.
he's my son, and I pretty much know how he is and how his work ethic is. Would you take a copy piece or
Yes, I love it.
He wouldn't. His brother would.
I know Elijah.
Yeah,
They
his
both
brother
take
would.
it.
But Chicken Hawk is very.
He wants to learn.
He not only wants to learn, but he wants to do the work. He's one of those, like, he actually stresses when he gets home. He needs to do his work. He needs to do this before he does anything. If you take him out of his routine, there's been times I got to run around. He's stressed out. Like, I didn't do my homework yet. And he will break down. He needs to do all his work. He needs to have things completed. He stresses over his work.
I'm like, Dad, don't worry about it.
So
I'm like,
would
take
you,
your time.
would you choose to do that or not?
No.
You won't eat. You'll do the work. What would you do?
Do it myself.
Do it yourself.
He
Okay.
said it wouldn't have happened to me because I would have had it done already.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
That's right. That's right. Well, we're going to go into another commercial break, and then after that, we're jumping into the topic. We're going to get into it. So please stay tuned. This is Edwin Desamour. You listen to The Wall, where we witness achievements to life lessons on Slot Radio.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps. Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Edwin Desamour. You're listening to The Wall, where we witness achievements through life lessons, live on Usla Radio. This is it. This is it. We're on The Wall. The topic of the day, teenage pregnancy. This is the first question we're going to ask today. Do you know anyone who had a child when they were a teenager? How did they keep up with their own responsibilities like school, work, etc., when also caring for the child?
I'll take this one. So, one of my friends recently just had a baby like 2 days ago. Or no, I'm lying. It was like 4 days ago.
You're talking about Janessa baby.
Yeah. So right now she's not struggling, like she's okay. But I know that in the beginning when she first found out that she was pregnant, like she was kind of like not stressed, but she was just a little uneasy, I guess you could say. She was like more stressed about the fact like once the baby comes, like how's she gonna, like she was more worried about being a good mom, which she already is. Like she already had that mom mentality. But I have another friend that she already had her baby, and she's been, I think the baby's about to be 1. But her baby dad, I guess you could say, he was actually shot like while she was pregnant. And it was like really hard for her, and I know like she was struggling. Like her mom wasn't talking to her, her dad wasn't talking to her, nobody was talking to her. She's like 17. So I know that it was like really hard for her to, you know, provide for the baby and make sure that the baby's okay, and then still have school on top of it. And like it was just a mess. But I would, like, for me, I was always trying to be there for her. Like me and her don't talk anymore as much as we used to, only because she is a mom and she has different things than I do. So I mean, there's only so much that I could do.
But you can see the struggle.
Mhm.
Watching that, did it make you think about choices that
I make?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I don't get down like that. Like, I don't really care. I'm gonna just say it, but I am a virgin, and
there's nothing wrong with that.
I know. And for me, my aspect is like, if you're willing to lay there and open your legs, you can.
You're responsible.
Yeah, you're responsible for what comes after that. If you get pregnant, that's basically your fault. You opened your legs. You were like, if you can open your legs, that's your responsibility for what comes, the consequences.
Thank you for sharing your opinion.
Not a consequence because the baby is blessing, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like switch it around. So you know how you said about the girls and stuff. I'm gonna put it as like from a guy perspective, and so like one of my like best friends, like he's like my brother-in-law. He actually had a kid when he was really young, and then he was in the game and stuff. If anybody don't know, like he was like doing all the drugs and all that, and he was like out on the block and stuff like that. And as soon as he found out, you know, I'm pregnant, I'm having your kid, he was like, oh no, like, you know, that's gonna be my kid. So he changed from being a person that was in the game, that was over in the streets and all, and he changed his whole perspective because he was like, I gotta provide for this kid because that's on me now. That's for me to step up to the plate and work hard. So he became a plumber, and he actually is making a lot of money now just from doing plumbing, and he's doing side gigs, stuff like that, and his family's the one that's helping him all out too. Mind you, the baby mama, she's actually doing well. She's smart. She going to school while she has the kid. They switch off, here the kid, and they work amazing together.
They both have family support.
Yeah.
No, I asked that for a certain reason, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, Tanya.
I was trying to think. I don't think I know anyone. Yeah, I don't think I know anyone like off the top of my head that I think had a baby
Not
at
young?
a young age. I don't know. Like I can't think right now. It'll probably come to me later. But to back up what Tati was saying, like she said, like she's a virgin. I'm a virgin, and like I hear people all the time, like I didn't have my first kiss till I was 16, and like when I say that, people be like what? I'm like, yeah, I know. They're like, didn't you have a boyfriend? I'm like, yeah. Like, what is that supposed to mean? And like we were together for a while, like more than like a year, and they're like, oh, so you're still virgin? I'm like, yes. Like, and I just want to say like there's nothing wrong with being a virgin. Like,
Thank you for putting that out there, especially for the young ladies that are listening, even for the young men.
like I'm 18 and I'm still a virgin. Like I hear people all the time, they be like, oh, like why? Like
Yes.
that's weird. Like, no, it's not weird. It's actually great. Like,
And you know what's so crazy? You know, I actually work. You know, I work in a school, and there was an argument between some girls, and one young lady this is a 12-year-old girl who was crying because they were teasing her because she was the only virgin.
she's 12.
12.
She probably don't even got her period yet.
Right.
Yeah.
And people not the mom and me.
Do people?
I think
Taina,
Jenny's coming out right now.
Do people ever believe you when you tell them?
I mean, like, yeah. Well,
no, people don't ever believe me.
I'll be honest. If you just like,
I think it's because of the people that I hang around that people already assume like, oh well, you're probably like that. Like,
Felicia, do you hear this? I mean, it's a shame because you have two young ladies who are proud to be virgins, but people are refusing. We have a culture today who's like, there's no way you can be because people are assuming that everybody's doing it.
Kids these days are losing their virginities at like 13.
Like, listen.
Like, it's
my mom be like, you know how to cook, wash, clean. You better know how to do everything before you get down because.
Yeah, I think it's important to, I don't know if we have time to do it today, but at some point you have to kind of figure out why people are not virgins so young, like what the reasons are behind that. A lot of what you guys are saying is resonating with me because I was a teenage mom. I know a lot of people who had kids young, but I'm one of them. And my daughter is 19 now. And it was a hard journey. It was a really, really tough journey. But sometimes I can't even relate to her because she's 19 and she's still a virgin. And she's had a boyfriend and she already had her first kiss. She's, been dealing with guys since she was probably 15 years old. We have a very close relationship, so I've always allowed the space for her to come and talk to me about those type of choices. And a part of me just couldn't even understand because that wasn't me as a teenager. Like, it's amazing to see young people like you guys that are just like confident in their decisions and like, this is what I want for me. And they have the space to make those choices for themselves. And I love hearing that because I think that puts you guys way ahead of the game. Like, you're already making choices. What's best for me? And a lot of people who don't make those choices is because they're not thinking like that. So yeah, I love that.
I'm gonna ask you a question, 2 questions. So do you feel, as a young mom, and you are now, do you feel that, you raised a good child and that you raised that, like you did a good job being by her side?
I do. And looking back, because sometimes I'm like, how did I do it? I really am like, how? Like, how did I do it? I really did it all by myself. Her father wasn't around. My mother, both my parents were not around. I was homeless when I first had her. So I actually was like in the streets. Figured out my resources. I was in the welfare to work program. I figured out a lot of things. Survival mode. And for a long time, I didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to be a good mom. And I didn't think I was a good mom for a very long time. And my daughters always reminded me that I was, even though I felt like I couldn't provide everything material-wise. For a long time. I mean, she's spoiled now. She has everything she wants now. But growing up, I felt like I wasn't giving her enough material-wise, and it used to depress me. But one thing I started when she was about maybe 3 years old was Mommy-Daughter Day every single weekend. So every single weekend, even if I only had like $10 to just go, take the train downtown and walk around at Love Park, we spent quality time together. And that built a relationship. And I think by giving her space to be herself, showing her all the love I possibly could give her, she developed her own self-confidence and she's very sure of herself. And I think that's giving her that is what made her the respectful, successful young lady she is now. It wasn't so much the material stuff. So I think if we respect our young people more, like show them some respect, even when we're frustrated and we're going through a whole bunch of stuff, if we show them the love and respect that we wish we had when we were growing up, I think that will go way further than people think it will go.
So, in this emergency, you took 3 things with you. You took a will, right? Determination, right?
Yep.
You took passion, right? And you took the love you have for your child.
Yep.
So, when we talk about what are the 3 things you're going to take with you, but when this happens, what are you going to do? What are the things you're going to take with you when it's time to?
That's how you survive. Those things that's inside of you. I think those are.
Thank you for sharing that. For me, I was a teenage dad. My son actually next week will be 30.
Oh, I forgot.
So everybody just made that face. I'm sure some folks on social media. Sometimes, I post my son, and actually people think it's my brother. People actually.
He's bigger than you.
Yeah,
You look like your pop.
Yeah. My son is going to be 30, and one time I was out supporting my son. He was fighting at a mixed martial arts event, and I was leaning over giving him a kiss, and I put the picture up, and a lot of people were like, who's that guy you kissing? And she goes, it's my son, But I was 16, and it's a longer story to that, but I was 16, and I was still very immature, ahead in a lot of ways when it comes to streets and everything else, but I was very immature by not thinking about him. What I mean by that is like there's responsibilities now, right? But I was still making poor choices where I ended up going away. So I made poor choices where I went to prison before he was born, and I got in trouble. So I missed out the first 8.5 years of his life. So going back to, okay, now his mother was left on her own to try to survive. Luckily, she had family who was stepping in, especially her mother, Miriam, who I give her props. She my son's grandmother, she took my son and loved him, and and she had him. But I just think about those who don't have that, like you said, those who are in the streets, those who don't understand the struggle. But before we even get into some of these questions, I feel as though, and I'm giving my opinion on this, I feel as though society makes it too easy now for young people to feel comfortable with getting pregnant. And anybody here, y'all could disagree with me, Felicia, you could disagree with me with that. But I just feel as though society, we create a culture where, for example, I get pissed. I'm one of those that get pissed, right? I probably consider a Scrooge when it comes to this, right? When you have a 14-year-old who gets pregnant, okay, we need to rally up on who's going to mentor her and support her morally, and we need those things. Everybody's all about, okay, we're going to have a baby shower. It's a big party.
Gotcha.
She has the big ribbon that, this is a 14-year-old girl. Like, in this, my opinion, now you got a bunch of other 14-year-olds looking at, like, look at all the attention she's getting. Look at all the gifts, and look at the dance. Look at the party, the DJ, right? And everybody's giving Pampers and baby clothes, right? But those folks are gone after that day. What's going to happen after the baby's born? Who's going to help babysit? Who's going to help her, give her advice when the child bumps their head, or the child is sick, or when it comes to school? Those are the supports. That's the type of baby shower that should be going on. Maybe let's sit around and talk about how we're going to support. They say it takes a village to raise a child.
And it also, I think, in something like that, holds the young person more accountable for, okay, I don't have any excuses. I have to take care of this child. I have this support. People are counting on me. I can't say that because life is so tough and I'm struggling so much that I can't do X, Y, and Z. It's like, now if you have that support, that's holding that young person even more accountable. I was going to disagree with you until you started explaining what you meant by that. The only reason I was going to disagree is because teen pregnancy rates have gone down. And I think a big part of that is because the culture we live in, where young people are thinking about themselves more often, about what they want their future to look like. They want more, and they know that young people, like having a baby, is going to hold them back. So I do know that.
I thought it was because the boys are playing video games now.
I mean, I think boys probably always was playing. But yeah, I think things have turned around for the best. But if you're talking about after the fact, like once it happens, kind of like, all right, what should it look like to kind of deter young people from saying like, oh, I could do it too, that might be the case, is to hold them more accountable by being a village, by saying, we're going to help you, but this is what you need to do, and make it. It's hard work.
I agree.
I'm
100% on board, and that's where I was trying to get. I don't think anyone's holding the child accountable.
Right.
You know, now you get family members who get upset. Mom and dad's like, I'm not helping you. I'm not doing this. That's not what it is. I have a cousin. I was pretty impressed the way he handled things when his daughter got pregnant. Like, the only time we're going to babysit is when you go to school.
Yep.
The only time we're going to babysit when you go to work.
Yeah.
But all this now, because now she's frustrated because I want to party.
Nope.
I want to go out.
I don't need no baby.
Yeah. You know, but this is what happens when you have a child. It's all about that child now. So, but now as a child, having a child, and that child is still selfish. Young people, let's be honest, young people are selfish. They want to have a good time.
Soup.
Yep.
Their brains are not fully developed.
Not
yet.
fully
they
developed.
Need support. Yeah.
So this is something that's pretty tough. You know, I'm glad we're having this conversation, but this is real, and I'm glad you brought that up with the stats.
Yeah, it's definitely gone.
You know, and it shows that young people are thinking, but there are some young people who still feel as though, and I think, like, again, this is just my opinion down here. I get frustrated with people. You know, it's like everybody's telling me, oh, she's pregnant. That's what I'm talking about. She's having, you know, you see it on the Instagram. I see the videos, and a lot of times I know people's situation. What are you celebrating?
Yeah.
You don't have a job. Your mom doesn't have a job. You know, there's no real income coming into the house, but they're banking off, you know.
Somebody said teen pregnancy is going down because of abortion. Doesn't mean that kids are having less sex.
And it's not about sex. To me, that's not what the issue is.
Yeah.
It's about what happens after.
Yeah.
Again, there's a whole nother conversation as to why young people are having sex. We got to talk about trauma. We got to talk about what they're exposed to. We got to talk about, you know, what they're coping with. Again, that's a whole nother show.
What's your schedule next week? We could do a part 2 of this.
I have a very flexible schedule, so you just let me know.
You know, I think we should do a part 2 of this, diving into why young people are having
sex. And then on the flip side of that, something you said earlier about how kids are blessings. So it's like when you have that two-sided sword where it's just like, okay, it's you made a mistake versus, but kids are blessings. People want to celebrate the baby, but you don't want to celebrate the situation. For a long time, that was my case because my kid was the most special thing that ever happened to me, the best thing that ever happened to me. But when I was 17 years old and I was pregnant, everybody told me to get an abortion. I mean, her father. I mean, everybody who said that they would support me, they was like, you can stay with me, but you have to get an abortion because I was already homeless at the time. So you can stay with me, but you can't bring no babies around. Like, all of that was happening. And
that's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. And I made a choice based off of what was going on inside of me. So I will always say that once you're pregnant or, you know, and that you're faced with that, it's a choice. And I always say that my kid was not a mistake. She was a hard choice that I made. Looking back, obviously, it's a choice I'm glad for, but that's just, everybody has a right to that choice. What led up to that is one conversation. What you do in that moment is another conversation, and what happens after that. We can't just put it all in one bowl and say it's the same thing. Because
you said the key word choice, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're not here to tell anyone to have an abortion, not to have an abortion.
Right.
It's your choice. It's your choice. And
but just understand that choice. Understand it's a hard choice. When I made that choice, I knew it was a hard choice because I knew nobody had my back.
So you're pro-choice, not pro-life?
I'm not either. I'm pro do what you gotta do for you.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I don't judge. Those situations are so individualized. And that's another thing I think we have a problem in this country is we put everything in these bubbles. I've been saying a lot lately because it's so true, and I heard it recently. Stereotypes are not wrong because the problem with stereotypes is not that they're wrong, it's that they're not the full picture. Right, so when we see situations happen, we think we know why it happened. We know the answer, and 9 times out of 10, we don't know because we don't have the full story. So I think it's important to just take every situation for what it is. It's a very individualized thing, which is why I'm always about whatever you have to do for you.
You know, I wish I researched something I'm about to mention because for me, I wish I had the stats in front of me. I've noticed more single young dads.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Instead of the girls staying with the babies, you have young boys who are raising their child.
That is happening more.
So hopefully we'll have that by next week. But this is real. This is real. I'm glad that we're having this conversation because folks should be listening and tuning in. And parents, you know, we need to watch it's like you said, we're supporting, but what are we celebrating? Because the child is beautiful, the child is a blessing, but at the same time, it's the way we celebrate it. And I think sometimes the message is wrong. We should have those conversations. Okay, not just saying we're going to this baby shower because we're going to this baby shower, but she's in for a rough ride. This is what's going on. But I really think baby showers should be about how we're going to come around and support.
We also live in a culture now where everything is for social media, right? So we don't know what's, people aren't having those conversations or getting down with the like heavy, dirty work because you want to look good on social media. You want to look like you are happy about it. You don't want to be embarrassed. You want to look like everything's great and look what we're doing and it's fun. And I see it all the time. And I'm like, I know, like you said, I know the real story. I know what's going on behind the scenes. And it's not as pretty as it looks on the outside. And I think, young people are smart enough to know that social media is pretty much a lie. Like everything you see is not what's actually happening. But I think people are using it as a way to cope instead of having the conversations like you're talking about.
No, I'm glad you brought that up also because not so long ago, just driving down the neighborhood, I saw a young person with some money and he had his boy taking pictures of him. You're in the hood. Yeah. You're in the hood, which is nothing wrong with our neighborhood, but you're in the hood. You have enough, but you're waving a few dollars. And you're risking your life for a few dollars. Yeah. But it's about the message, right? It's about what do we really believe or what do we, I think people are infatuated with looking good than rather being good.
And feeling good.
Yeah.
And feeling
but,
good.
like you said, you got these pictures of the babies and the baby pictures, but nobody's probably capturing how they're breaking down at night. I'm sure you probably broke down a lot at night crying and your baby is not, keeping you up all night. You're not getting any sleep and how tough it is. It's not easy. Babies are beautiful, but it's not fun either sometimes.
It's a lot of work.
There's beautiful moments to it, but there's difficult moments that are pretty much not captured when it comes to dealing with a baby. But I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of you two ladies. I noticed Eddie remained silent when it came to his virginity. But that's another topic to have.
He put you on the spot.
Yeah, I had
You got
to.
something you want to say?
Yeah.
Said it for you.
Quote of the day: don't worry that children never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. It's very important. And before we end the show, I just want to say, when it comes to the trend and what's going on, young ladies are under pressure talking about being a virgin. And believe it or not, I raised my boys up a little bit different. I was raised up a certain way where uncles, especially my dad and everybody, how many girlfriends you got? How many this and that? I was raised up in that era. But, you laughing, but I was raised up in that. But as for my sons, I'm very strict when it comes to that. Now, when people come to my kids, even grown ladies, they're like, oh, he's so cute. How many girlfriends he got? I'm like, oh. I don't ask your daughter how many boyfriends she got. No, that's different. No, it's not different. Don't start promoting that with my son. Like, I don't want that in his head on how many girls you got. Right now, I just want him to be a kid. I want him to be able to just enjoy who he is right now. Relationships are stressful.
And you got the rest of your life for that.
Yeah.
Ain't no rush.
Well, I wouldn't know.
I like to
Can't
have
relate.
so much fun.
Yeah.
It makes you have gray hair just like Ed Desamour right now.
Yeah, that's right, man. Especially when you have 4 boys.
I like to have fun, and my parents let me have fun, so nobody's not going to let me have fun.
Yeah. And we, I put it out there, not to put it out there a little bit with Elijah's home. He's not feeling well. He's 13, so he's going through that stage. Approaching me and approaching his mother and saying, "Hey, I want a girlfriend," and he's kind of shocked because we're kind of like we're opposing it. What's the difference between a friend and a girlfriend? Let's talk about the girlfriend title. What does that, what does that mean? What's the next level with having a girlfriend?
You got jealousy. You got people telling you what to do.
Well, we just ran out of time, Felicia. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So
I love this.
if it's okay with you, and I'll announce it to folks that you'll be here next Saturday.
Next Saturday, I can say that.
So far.
We're
hoping.
Yes,
Let's cross our fingers.
I will be back. I know that. I will be back.
Well, she will be back, and I want to have a part 2 discussion on why are kids doing certain things, and let's dive into a little bit of mental health too.
Yeah.
We will. Thank you so much. Enjoy everybody who's listening. Thank you for tuning in. This is Edwin Desamour. You will listen to The Wall, where we witness achievements to life lessons only on Usala Media.